Heat versus Celtics Eastern Conference preview.
Oh boy.
Now, Riv, I don't know what way you're going with this.
I'm sorry, I forgot to mention your dog walk to the finals.
I was literally close. That was supposed to be 5. Warriors.
I don't know. It's not a dog walk once Ja goes out and y'all get blown out by 40.
We won in 6. I was really close. I was legit. If Ja plays, I really think we win in 5 games.
And I would give you that respect. 5 games. That's a dog walk.
Whatever, though.
Because this isn't about to be a dog walk, and you know it.
Because I thought we was gonna play Phoenix. We was gonna dog walk Phoenix. I swear to God, we was.
I apologize, but let's go.
I don't know what way you're going in this series. You still didn't make a decision.
I actually did make a decision.
Please,
this morning, I did make a decision.
Please, man.
Wait, so you're going Boston, right?
I just want to hear what you want to say.
That's facts. Come on, you're trying to gauge. Come on, let me hear it. Come on.
So yesterday I was really torn up about this because this is actually. I think this is going to be a dogfight. I do believe Miami and Boston, it's going to be just as good as Boston and the Bucks because I think defensively, this is going to be like the Detroit Pistons versus the Indiana Pacers. I feel like it's going to have that type of defensive impact. 2 elite defense. I mean, Miami was an elite defense and half their guys didn't play the season. So this 2 elite defenses, 2 defenses that kind of have the same personnels that kind of can match one another. Jimmy Butler, PJ Tucker can guard Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, vice versa. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown can definitely guard Jimmy Butler and PJ. Bam has a switchable ability. Rob Williams. Well, I'm saying,
I know what you mean.
Bam has a switchable ability. Rob Will, Al Horford, Grant Will, they have the switchable ability. You got a lot of guys, but it's like I look at Miami and I look at the 3-point shooting that they have. I look at Jimmy Butler. He's been playing at a ridiculous rate. I gotta go Miami.
Yes.
I am.
This is music to my ears.
I don't like Miami, but everything is predicated on Jimmy Butler being this amazing, and with him being this amazing, I got Miami. But I do think the series goes 7 games. This will be a 7-game series.
This is when you know
I got Miami.
Pride cometh before the fall.
I got Miami.
Chooses the Nets over the Celtics, chooses Milwaukee over the Celtics.
I got Miami.
And in his heart, when we sat at this table months ago and we had this conversation about the Celtics versus Miami, you and I were on the exact same page.
Wasn't. What did we say?
No, we said that if it's just Jimmy, the Celtics can get it done.
Yeah, but Jimmy is on another.
And Tatum isn't.
But we've never seen
Jaylen Brown hasn't been cooking.
We've never seen this. Like outside of the finals against the Lakers, we have never seen Jimmy be like this, bro. He's on a different level offensively.
And then this is how we debunk that, right? Because against the Hawks and the Sixers, I'm supposed to be more impressed. But defensively,
the Nets defensively.
I'm talking
the Nets defensively.
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee's a tough defense, but
you told me that Drew was gonna give Tatum fits.
He did for sometimes.
Until Tatum realized, oh wow, I'm Jason Tatum.
The difference with the Bucks and Miami, the Bucks allow a lot of threes, and they rely heavily on their rim protection. Miami doesn't. Miami can rely a lot on the perimeter, but they also can guard the interior. That's why I've always said it. Miami and the Boston, they match up evenly. The only difference is Boston has the best player in the series. So, but defensively, they match up because he said that. But defensively, Miami can
I don't
switch.
agree with that reasoning.
What?
Okay, thank you.
What reason?
I almost had a stroke. I thought you were trying to say that Jimmy Butler was better than Tatum.
I'm gonna be honest. This series is pretty easy for me to predict.
Very.
I'm
so happy to see you.
I'm more worried about me getting Dallas and Golden State wrong than I am about this.
Me too.
Because
100%.
There's just something magical about Dallas right now that's happening that it can very well lead to a finals appearance.
The one thing in basketball, though, usually the better team wins. Usually in basketball, the better team wins.
But before you go, Drew, I'll just say this. And honestly, everything I'm about to say is just spoiler. Like, I'm picking Boston. But everything I'm going to say, after I say this, there is no reason you or anybody listening and or watching should bet on Miami to win this series or pick them.
I ain't betting on them. Says the guy who bet on them to make the finals.
Celtics are 2-1 versus the Heat this year, but that doesn't matter at all. But this is the second time these two teams have faced in the conference finals in the last 3 years. Back in the bubble, the 5th-seeded Heat versus the 3rd-seeded Celtics. The Heat won in 6.
Yep.
Butler averaged 19 in that series. Bam and Goran averaged 20. Hero averaged 19. But the difference between the two teams now is that the Heat now have PJ Tucker and Kyle Lowry, who's not playing in this, at least in game one, hamstring. Max Strus is there too. But for the most part, it's the same team. It's the same culture. It's the same brand of basketball. The Celtics have completely changed. This is not the same team. They don't have Kemba Walker anymore, who was a defensive liability. And their big man at the time was Daniel Tice and Enes Kanter. So Bam was able to feast on them. Now they have Rob Will, who's going to play. And Ime Udoka has said is not under any restrictions in this series.
He's okay.
And Al Horford. So
didn't see
Al
much
Horford,
in the
he was hurt. He was definitely affected.
Al Horford already. I mean, what was I going to say? Bam Adebayo already hasn't been good these playoffs offensively.
Against Embiid.
So now facing off against Al Horford and Rob Will, do I expect them to? I don't.
Say a prayer.
The Miami Heat haven't had a real test in these playoffs. They've had midterms. They haven't had final exams.
Midterms matter.
And the 76ers and Hawks aren't real teams. The Hawks are one of the worst defenses in the league. The Sixers are one of the worst defenses in the league. Let's look at the Celtics' path. The Nets, who everybody had as a championship contender before the playoffs started.
One of the worst defenses in the league.
Once
say
the
that.
playoffs started,
the team that you thought was going to win.
Let me
The team you
finish.
thought was going to win.
You cannot play it both ways. One of the worst defenses in the league, the Nets.
But you thought they were going to win.
I did. But
so what does it matter?
You can't say Atlanta's one of the worst defenses and not say the Nets are. They are.
Here's the difference, though.
They are, though.
Boston is the best defensive team in the NBA.
Miami's top 4.
Okay, they're not number 1.
They missed half their players.
And offensively, you and I both agree Boston is better.
Because they're the two guys, yes.
Let
but
me
Miami
finish.
statistically has a better offense.
But again, we're not statistic guys.
But you just use statistics for defense. You can't play it both ways. You cannot.
But you can use your eyes and see that Boston's the best defense.
You cannot do that. I cannot play it both ways.
But I'm being honest, though, because I use it both ways.
Let him finish.
What do you mean? I said I use my eyes, but the numbers help as well.
So I can't do
Your
that?
eyes don't tell you that Miami's a better offensive team.
But the numbers do.
My point exactly.
So it's 50-50.
Come on, go ahead, Joel.
The Celtics have beat the Nets and Bucks, who, when the playoffs started, were both teams that we viewed as conference finals contenders, if not title contenders. The Celtics,
we didn't.
You didn't think the Nets could make the conference finals?
You were the only person at this table that said this was a conference. You were the only person. I didn't view them as
So you don't think the Nets were a top 4 team in the East going into the playoffs?
No, I didn't.
You said they were going to beat the Celtics.
But I didn't say they were a conference finals contender. I never said that.
So you don't think they had a chance against Milwaukee?
No, I thought the Bucks were going to beat them regardless, and that's a fact.
All right, whatever.
You were
That
the only person that said
doesn't
that.
even matter. Regardless, the Celtics have had a tougher path. They embarrassed the Nets.
Facts.
And in the Bucks series, they show 2 things. How impactful and valuable the role players are.
Facts.
And Tatum's ascension. It's as simple as that. Tatum is now ascending
Yep.
into a different conversation. And by the end of these playoffs, he will be in the conversation. KD shot 38% in the series in the first round, 13% lower than his series average. Giannis shot 45% in the series, 10% lower than his series average. Jimmy Butler is currently shooting 52% in the playoffs and shot 48% in the regular season.
Yep.
If I'm just doing a simple math equation, I can expect Butler in this series versus Boston to shoot 41% to 38% to 36% in this series. I think Butler has this type of series. He'll probably average 20, 41% from the field. Bam Adebayo hasn't been good all playoffs offensively. Tyler Hero hasn't been good all offensively. Hasn't been good offensively all playoffs. Yeah. He's been averaging 13 points per game. Kyle Lowry is hurt. Who's going to step up? If the Celtics can take away Jimmy Butler, this series is done.
Tatum averaged 40. He shot 44% from the field with Wesley Matthews and Drew Holiday guarding him. Correct.
Okay.
Almost 40% from 3. Don't forget that.
Yes, almost 40% from the 3. And then against the Nets, he probably shot around the same percentages, right? With Kevin Durant guarding him, right?
I can look, but keep going.
So can I make the assumption, like you just did, that
Tatum shot 44% from the field in the playoffs?
Let me finish. So can I make the assumption that Jimmy Butler and PJ Tucker, the same way how you just made the assumption that they can make Jason Tatum struggle just like you did? I can, right? Because Jimmy Butler and PJ Tucker are elite perimeter defenders. Because that's
a possibility, but I have more faith in Jimmy Butler dropping off to this. then I do that.
Miami's defense is tough, man.
I mean, it's tough. There's no way around it. But like I said, the Bam thing. Al Horford on 27 possessions in Game 7 against Giannis.
Oh yeah.
Held him to 8 points, 3 for 12. Bam is getting taken away. Like I said, what are you searching up right there?
Tatum's averages against the Nets were insane.
Who plays defense on the Nets?
Again, but you did not pick the Celtics to win this series.
But who plays defense on the Nets?
But then you should have took that into your analysis.
But who plays? I'm talking about right now. Who plays defense on the Nets like Miami?
No one.
Oh, okay.
Listen.
So you told me Drew was going to hold this.
I mean, he shot 44% against.
And he shot 45% against the Nets. What's the difference? One.
And plus, Butler's shots are a bit different also than Tatum's.
It is.
And Butler, at least in the Philly series, was getting to the paint a lot. He was posting up a lot. I don't think he'll be able to do that against Boston. And I trust those other guys in Boston, those role players like Grant Williams, Payne Pritchard, Jaylen Brown also as a second guy to step up. I trust all those guys to step up more.
Jimmy will guard Jaylen Brown. I'm fine with that.
All right.
I'm fine
with all that being said, look, am I a little bit torn about this? A little bit, only because PJ Tucker's on the Heat.
Oh, right,
That's the only reason why. But I have Celtics in 6 written here. I'm changing it. Celtics in 5. They're going to win this series.
I think.
I can't be. Yeah, come on.
What?
Can I go?
Oh, pardon me. Sorry. I thought you went. I'm sorry.
I appreciate that, Joel. Celtics in 5. Because you know where I reside.
Celtics in 5?
Celtics in 5.
Try and go 2 for 1.
Listen, you guys can say all you want. That series against Milwaukee could have ended in 5 games had Boston been a little bit more confident. Milwaukee had the championship experience. They weren't nervous. Boston still understood that we're the better team. We just have to play like it. They were able to close the series. But the window for them to win in 5 was there. They couldn't close.
That's true.
Now I'm looking at this series, and I'm looking at the offensive output out of Miami, and it's basically Jimmy Butler with a side of Bam Adebayo, who's been inconsistent to say the absolute least. His offensive output has just not been anywhere near of what was expected of him, especially as his supposed number 2 option. Tyler Hero averaging under 15 points this postseason. He has been abysmal for what everyone was expecting Tyler Hero to be. Max Strus, him averaging 13 points. You give respect to him. He's not the type of player that you're expecting. 100% for sure. Victor Oladipo has been.
He doesn't play much.
Inching his way back. I mean, this is not a team that I'm looking at that I'm worried in the slightest bit. Joel hit the nail on the head with everything that he said. Defensively, I'm going with Boston. Offensively, I'm going with Boston. There is no one on Miami offensively that holds anywhere near the talent that Jason Tatum has. I don't care what Jimmy Butler has done against Philadelphia, who defensively is not a great defensive team at all, and Matisse Thybulle, who can barely be on the court because his offensive output is basically non-existent. He's basically unplayable. And then against Atlanta, who has no defensive presence at all, yes, what Jimmy's numbers on a blank surface, they are impressive as can be, but they're not as impressive when you realize the talent that he was facing was not anything of real substance. Boston has been the best team in the NBA since the All-Star break. And I don't expect to see Miami Heat be any type of obstacle in their way. Boston is going to win very comfortably.
Oh, my God.
I'm so happy. Because, me and you were on the same side. We sat at this table. JC, we miss you. We hope you're doing all right. We sat at this table. We had this conversation with Joel.
Yeah, me and Joel's flip sides. That's literally what happened. It's just funny to me. So a couple things you guys said. You keep saying Atlanta was abysmal on defense, which I agree with you. I agree. Philly's not that good on defense. I agree with you. But you don't acknowledge Brooklyn. Aside from the star power, Brooklyn is a horrible defensive team.
There's a reason? I haven't mentioned them.
You don't acknowledge. You keep saying, and listen, outside of the Bucks.
It was a sweeping. What am I to mention about the Nets?
Outside of the Bucks, which was impressive. I said that before. Boston gets a A+ grade for that because the Bucks are a good defense with an elite perimeter defender in Drew Holiday. You get an A+ for that. They played phenomenal. But you keep talking about Miami's path being because they had bad defenses, but then you have to acknowledge the fact that it's outside. Of course, Brooklyn has the 2 stars. Nobody's denying that. But we're just talking defenses. Brooklyn is just as bad as those 2 teams on defense that Miami played.
Let me ask you a question.
They handled a team that
Milwaukee what you're saying.
Was ducking them.
I don't know about
they
today,
went to the 3 seed to not play the Nets. Boston said, I don't care who we face. I'm just saying that this team showed that it does not matter who we play.
That has nothing to do with what I'm saying.
We can handle them.
That has nothing to do with what I'm saying.
Because there's no team that wanted to play the Nets on that top of the Eastern Conference. But you know who did? Boston.
What's your question?
All regular,
nothing to do with what I'm saying.
All regular season, you've spoken about Jimmy Butler not being good offensively or being a great offensive player. So now he's turned it up in the playoffs. You don't think he'll regress back to what he's been in the regular season versus Boston?
When they played in the regular season?
No, I'm just saying, like, you don't think that Jimmy Butler's just going to go back to his 21 point per game average?
No, I think he's on a different level right now. I do believe he's on a different level right now. I think defensively, Miami and Boston defensively are going to fight. I think the way you guys are just disregarding Miami's defense. Oh, Bam's going to be taking out the series. Okay, what do you think he's going to do to their big men? He's going to that Al Horford.
But their big men aren't featured in the offense.
Yeah, but that whole Al Horford is the 5th best player. Come on, bro. He's going to take them complete. Like there's nothing they're going to be able to do against Bam.
Do you understand Milwaukee's big man is Giannis Antetokounmpo?
What does that have to do with anything?
He's one of the best defenders in the NBA. But you're telling me Bam Adebayo is going to be the X factor in stopping Al Horford and his production also?
He doesn't have to stop, bro.
I'm just saying for what his role provides.
Al Horford was beating Giannis off the dribble on the perimeter. Bam's a better perimeter defender than Giannis. You do know that, right?
For sure.
So what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Bam is a better he's not Al Horford.
But you were talking down low.
No, because Al Horford was Giannis was getting beat off the dribble.
We don't have to talk about.
Of course, we really don't.
No, I'm talking about, to your point, we don't have to talk about the Bam Horford matchup. Bam is going to beat Horford in that matchup.
Defensively, for sure.
Like, come on, bro.
But offensively, Bam's going to be irrelevant.
Horford doesn't have to work.
Bam is going to be irrelevant. And no one's worried about Bam offensively. No one.
That's fine, but please stop.
Yo, there's a chance that
You're
Bam
propping
Adebayo...
up Horford been too much.
Whatever you want to say, but that Al Horford is one of the main reasons why they're moving on to the next round. Regardless of that fact,
in the Grant Williams category.
There's a chance. Exactly, and Grant Williams
but he's
was
not
absolutely outstanding. But
he's a role player.
Boston is an amazing team.
Nobody said they wasn't, bro.
My whole point being is, again, let me get back to what I was saying. There's a chance that Bam Adebayo doesn't even average 13 points this series.
There's a chance for a lot of people to not average 13 points. What's your point?
The only way possible that you can even think Miami could win.
I guarantee you Bam averages 13 points.
Wow. Okay, sure.
He's averages like 15, 16 points. I really believe that.
Sure, because Giannis Antetokounmpo struggled with Al Horford and Grant Williams. You're telling me that Grant Williams and Al Horford can't stop someone who's significantly inferior offensively?
Just because you can stop an elite player doesn't mean you can always stop a good player.
I'm telling you, for sure, I'm confident in that.
I'm sure you can be confident, but just like how you're confident in Boston's defense, I'm confident in Miami's defense. They're an elite defensive team. They have great perimeter. They have elite perimeter defenders, just like Boston.
Okay, there you go.
Just like Boston. So I don't.
Kyle Lowry is a huge loss in this series, though.
I agree. And he's only not. If he doesn't play, that sucks. But I think he's only missing game one.
Look me straight in the eyes and tell me
hamstring though lingers on. No,
look me straight in the eyes and tell me you believe in Miami's offense over Boston's.
I believe in Jimmy Butler.
So you believe in one player over what you've seen? Who?
You're going to name two. I'm going to name one.
What do you mean? I believe in the role players of what Grant Williams has been consistently showing me all
He's
season.
Wide open.
All season, he's been shooting 40%.
Wide open.
All season, he's been shooting 40% from three.
I'm talking about, I don't care. I'm talking about the playoffs. We're in the playoffs. I'm talking about last series.
So fine, against the Nets, against Milwaukee, he's been consistent all year.
All right. I trust him. I trust Miami's defense. I trust Eric Spoelstra, the best coach in the East. I trust them, bro. I'm telling you, I trust them. Miami's going to win.
You know what? I'll change my pick. Celtics in 6, not 5. I got Celtics.
5 is disrespectful.
No, it's not. Five is not disrespectful.
5 is extremely disrespectful.
Because Boston is a better team.
You can be a better team.
Easily.
It'd still be disrespectful.
It's not disrespectful.
So you're sticking with Heat?
Yeah, I got the Heat.
Okay.
I like their defense. I like Jimmy Butler's turn up. He's been amazing, and I feel like the spacing is going to be better this series. So I like PJ Tucker on Jason Tatum. He's going to make him work. I love Jimmy Butler on Jaylen Brown, Mr. Robin. I love that matchup. Jimmy's gonna clean that matchup. I love it. I don't know anybody stupid thinks Jaylen Brown's gonna cook Jimmy Butler. But I love that matchup.
Jason Tatum's probably gonna play defense on him. So
I'm just talking about Jimmy guarding Jaylen Brown. He's done.
I mean, you're being very rude.
Rude about what?
What do you mean rude about what? You understand what you're saying? You're saying that Jaylen Brown
is going to get locked up by Jimmy Butler.
Oh, yes. He's getting locked up. I'm sorry. I'm thinking you're saying defensively Jaylen Brown's going to get cooked.
No, he might not get cooked.
Okay, that's what I was confused about.
Jimmy Butler's going to lock Jaylen Brown up. PJ Tucker's going to make Jason Tatum work.
Interesting.
Work hard too.
Okay, interesting.
And then Marcus Smart, he can score.
Because we've spoken about this before. No one can stop Tatum.
No, we have not spoken about this ever in life.
I've said this on multiple occasions.
That doesn't mean you're right.
I mean, have I been wrong so far?
It's been 2 series and 1 against the Nets. Good job.
I mean, since the All-Star break, I've been preaching nothing but Jason Tatum.
Since the All-Star break. All right. I mean, that's cool. The Heat have been number 1 for damn near the whole year, bro. What are you going to say? Since the All-Star break, they've been number 1.
I mean,
so what do you, you're going to say.
But who's been the best team in the NBA since the All-Star break?
No. This All-Star break shit is aggravating. They've been the best team since the All-Star break. That's fine.
And this is going to be your downfall.
That's fine and dandy.
It's going to be your downfall.
Miami has been number 1 for damn near the whole year. And they've missed players left and right. Please stop with the All-Star break.
It's going to be your downfall.
Because even with that All-Star break, guess who's still the number 1 seed? The Miami Heat.
It's going to be your downfall.
If I have no emotional attachment to the series.
Come on, man. It's bigger than that. It's between you and I.
It's not
going to be your downfall.
It's not going to be my downfall.
It is, 100%.
Miami, I don't think they'll lose. I got Miami in 6.
Sometimes you got to take your recent knowledge into account.
I'm going to go Miami 7. I think it goes 7.
Really?
Yes. I think it goes all the way back to Miami. Yeah.
Wow. All right.
I think this definitely goes 7.
All right.